Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host right here at the Critics with Agents of Fandom, Isaac Joel, and today we're going to be breaking down Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I've been very excited to kind of talk about this movie all year. I think this is something that's been on people's low-key radar. Not a lot of buzz is going around with it, but this is from the mind of one of the best writers, the best producers, actors, creators of all times. Seth Rogen and his studio, Point Grey, came together and decided, you know what we really, really need to do? You know what people are dying for? What they need to see? A real, true, honest, sincere adaptation of our favorite characters growing up, the Ninja Turtles. Now, I don't know about you, but I am a Ninja Turtle fan. I think it's kind of something that you just cannot get away from. It is iconic. It is legendary. It is everywhere. You can't go to the sleepovers at your friend's house unless they're wearing the pajamas, unless they got the bed sheets, unless they got the toys, the backpacks, the lunch boxes. If you've never watched the shows, never watched the movies growing up, know nothing about it, that's total BS because it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And to me, this is just for me. I'm a big fan of teenage superheroes. That's why Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. Kamala Khan, anyone that's really a young adolescent child that is kind of going through coming of age, that's learning who am I, discovering who it is that they want to become when they grow up. And you go through all these struggles and confusions and feelings and all these things going on in your body. And I really, really appreciate when they tell that perspective right, and then they add on top of that superhero element, that fantasy element that makes it all that more exciting. Mutant Mayhem is the ultimate culmination of all of those. I felt like for a split second that this was going to become a multiverse movie because there were dope Easter eggs that reminded me of the 80s movies, of the Michael Bay movies, of that dark and gritty, or even the cartoon Nickelodeon series. There's a lot that it feels like it's grabbing from and pulling in and saying like, you know what, we're gonna show you guys all the things that you love so much about the Ninja Turtles, but also with a little bit of a twist. I really want to kind of get into the things that worked for us because let's be honest, man, and you tell me your full opinion, Ruben, but there's very there's no cons in this. I walked out saying this is utter perfection. You don't get any better than this.
Yeah, well, first off, I kind of want to say coming into this movie, I'm not like the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. Not because I don't like him, but just like as a kid, I never really grew up with either, some of the 90 cartoons, the toys. It just wasn't really something that I myself was getting into. But, saying that, I'm very well aware of like the lore, what the Ninja Turtles are, all the names, the characters, and going into this movie with that kind of mindset, I was still very blown away of how much detail was brought into this movie. It does gives you kind of that Spider Verse vibe, because I feel like with Spider Verse it kind of shifted the way animation movies are kind of made. I truly think animation is starting to be taken more seriously. I do feel like around the early to middle 2000s, it felt like studios were just kind of pushing these movies for the kids to watch to make an easy buck. But it has truly shifted into that medium, as Guillermo del Toro likes to call it, and it's truly art at this point.
It has become art. The entire perception, I think, of the genre is being taken way more seriously. I think every kind of aspect of filmmaking is to be taken more seriously when it comes to stunts, and now with animation. I think these are two big forums that people are going to be looking at really differently. We already know that it's greenlit for a sequel, that it's going to get a whole animated series, that the cast is going to come back for that, and so I am all for them continuing this new franchise of heroes that they built up. For me, the movie was so freaking hilarious. I was not expecting to be, like, cackling on the floor, like, literally, like, breathless, like, I could not breathe from laughing at the running on jokes that they had, and I couldn't believe how much they pushed, like, these inappropriate jokes that just, like, were flying by, man. You know, they did it this movie, what, is it PG? It may be PG, but they are pushing that PG, especially when you got a guy like Ice Cube in the booth, man. He's saying damn, hell, like everything that it is that he's possibly allowed to say. He's saying it with the most like aggressive attitude ever. And man, dude, the villain in this movie, Superfly, Super Duper Fly, like is he is so freaking badass, man. They could not have casted anyone better, dude, than Ice Cube. He does what he does best. You know, he kind of plays the same like tough guy from the streets, you know, but he's just in this forum, in an animated forum. I think especially the fact that they allowed the actors to interact with each other inside the booth. That made a big difference with the movie. You can actually feel the chemistry. It's not just like voices laid over on top of each other. They're actually like interacting into these or improvising into these crazy stupid jokes, doing like New York, Boston accents at one point, and they're just kind of going on and on with that. I read that that was like an actually improvised scene. You'd be surprised at how much of the movie's like actually improvised.
Yeah, you nailed it with the chemistry here with not just all the Ninja Turtles, but the supporting cast as well. A couple ones that kind of stood out for me was Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan still got it.
What Jackie Chan was able to do was honestly something remarkable. He felt so real. He felt personal, and you feel for this guy who feels like he's starting to lose his kids as they grow up. People can really relate to that. Some parents are really scared for their kids to grow up into the world.
Best jokes in the entire movie. He had me laughing the most. Like, what was the last animated movie he did? What, like Kung Fu Panda? No one has ever utilized him to such, again, the word that I think about when I think about every aspect of this movie is perfection. And Jackie Chan was perfection as Splinter. He had some pretty emotional moments. In the very beginning of the film, there was a moment where they're walking back to the sewers, and the music, the score, the soundtrack it had me ball up in tears. No one was saying anything, but it was just at how like sonic the soundtrack was. It was kind of like synth wave esque, you know, like it was like kind of like on a synthesizer. I really like the choices that they even made when it came to choosing the songs. Every song wasn't just like this is like some James Gunn stuff, man. Seriously, like they used the songs to be used. It's not just like, oh, play a track, oh, play it here, do it there. Like when they play the music, it is specifically chosen, and then the cinematography is very specific to match that of the song, and every detail is really well thought of. The pizza, you know, they still got that Pizza Hut sponsorship after all these years. I feel like they play it really safe with pop culture references. A lot of movies play it safe, like by you know what will like easily get us laughs. Whatever's relevant, whatever they're talking about on any social media platform, whether it be a Snapchat, be TikTok, you know, whatever the time, MySpace, whatever it is, like they really focus on pop culture references of that time. And I agree with you. I think the jokes for me that I'm even referring to were not even pulp culture references, were like actual setup pieces that like lingered on throughout the whole movie and then like had like its final like at the very end. I had with it was the villains and just like how kind of like and I'm talking about specifically like the government agencies, you know, not even like the mutants, but like the government and like how they were just like coming after the Ninja Turtles and wanting to take their powers and make super soldiers. I hate how now like the super soldier serum thing is now this new MacGuffin device where it's like let's take the powers and just make an army of people and then come like I the movie kind of took a weird pause and stop to like go into that like super like lame outdated idea of a villain when it was already working with the mutants as the villain. The mutants were perfect, man. I want to give a huge shout out to Paul Rudd, dude. Paul Rudd was probably like one of the second most funniest person, and I didn't even like really expect him to do as much as he did. You know, he's not just funny, he's not just a cameo, he's actually like involved in the plot. He has real chemistry with the turtles, way more than Seth Rogen as a Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, those were the other two voices that really stood out for me. Were John Cena and Seth Rogen. He didn't do the laugh though. I will say he did not do the laugh.
No, no, he didn't. I think he tried his absolute best to stay away from that. I think they picked the best kids to play the turtles. Every single one of them were rightfully chosen as each and every single one of them. I couldn't even sit here and be like, "Oh, I have a favorite turtle." I think they're all like you the thing about the turtles is that they don't work alone. They don't work like one isn't cool on their own. One isn't like the best on their own. They are the best when they are united, when they're working together, when they're on the same page about things. I think Leonardo's character took a completely different direction in this movie versus other movies, which I really, really liked. I loved how they did Raphael by making him like super aggressive and angry all the time. However, it's not like, oh, he's got a bad temper and like, you know, he's struggling and depressed and like he always is. Like he's not brooding like Batman, like he's always doing like in the other animated shows or movies. You know, he's a lot more fun about it. You know, he has more. He's like, oh, he's just hyped and just wants to go and like ran through a wall. They're like, okay, dude, like chill out, man. Like we want to do this too, bro, but you got some real temper issues, you know. And then even Donatello, you know, Donatello is like the most kindest of the turtles, and the voice that they got for him, I think, was really really spot on. Every single cast member in this movie, I think, is a huge standout, and I really really want everybody to go check this movie out. I really don't want this to be something that passes as a buy. I think that this is going to be the new definitive adaptation of the Ninja Turtles. I'm so proud of this movie. I have high hopes of whatever it is that they do with that TV show. I'm a little bit on edge about that, honestly. I feel like, wow, movie hasn't even released yet, and they're already making all these announcements. Like, you know, pump the brakes, slow it down a little bit. But hey, it is all as great as we say that it is, and I think it deserves the success that it should have going forward. And I'm blown away with the direction that Seth Rogen brought to the script into this. You know, it really needed that teenage adolescence injection into it because the turtles have always been like voiced and played by like 30-year-old men, and it just like is very weird and off-putting, and this is finally Ninja Turtles.
I want to give Jeff Rowe his flowers, man. He directed this movie. Last directed Mitchell and the Machines, which was an animated movie by Sony. It came out on Netflix, I believe, due to the pandemic. I think it was around that era. But that was a movie that that was done really well. Like
It was.
it was another movie that like it kind of had that Spider Verse influence, and yeah, that's I definitely recommend you guys to check that movie out. Maybe if you want to see that before Ninja Turtles comes out, just to kind of get a sense of his style of direction and stuff like that. But yeah, man, he totally crushed it. I'm glad that he's going to be doing the sequel to this movie, and I very much look forward to his career because the Mission of the Machines was his first director debut in animation, and so I think he has a bright future ahead. Fun to see what this man does in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It has been such a great summer of films, guys. I really can't remember the last time when we've had so many great movies coming out back to back to back. And this has been probably one of my favorite summers of all time. You know, I got to see Mission Impossible, got to see John Wick, I got to see Barbie, Oppenheimer, Ninja Turtles, Spider Verse. What a year!
Most families, especially in this economy, they're not gonna go and see all of these movies in a single year. I'm sure they'll wait and see if it hits digital early, as some movies have done that in the past. And you know, as a casual viewer, they're not sure when this movie's gonna come out on Blu-ray or whatever. And so I truly hope this movie is able to find some success, especially with the third week of Barbie, the third week of Oppenheimer. I know those are totally different movies and maybe different audiences.
The fact that you got so many options. You can take your girls to go see Barbie. You can take your boys to see Oppenheimer. Go see action. Go see an animated movie. You have so many options of whatever it is that you want to watch.
Yeah, like you said, it's a good time to be a film fan.
Dude, Ruben, man, I gotta tell you, man, I gotta be honest. It is my favorite thing in the world when we go to these screeners, man. Before we go to these screeners, we like to stop at a bar, grab some food, talk a little bit about projects that we're cooking up, talk about the future, talk about our personal lives, and then like hype us up a little bit about what it is that we're about to see. And it seems like, man, we have come so far in our life, man, from going to those guest passes when we were 16, 17 in high school, you know, trying to find our way to that Doctor Strange premiere, to that Homecoming premiere. And now we are at a whole new level, man, and a whole new different appreciation, I think, with these films. And I really appreciate everyone that is responsible and that makes it possible for us to go and watch these movies and attend and be part of the audience. We do, man. We really appreciate all of our connections, all of our people. I want to give a huge shout out to Harkins. They're doing this incredible thing right now, and please listen to me, because you guys got to continue to do this. They never really did this in the past. I don't ever have any recollection of it, but they're starting to do actual collectibles that you can buy at the concession stand, whether it be a popcorn bucket. You know, I have the Mission Impossible one, and then they have these Barbie cups, and now today I got my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cup, and this is a collectible that I have now with all of my others. And so, like, I'm really hyped about this kind of stuff. I really do love going to the theaters and like immersing myself into this kind of like level of like it is so amazing. So really, thank you guys so much for the cup. Thank you so much for everything, for the workers that bust their butts off, cleaning everything up, checking the tickets, everything that everyone does. I want you guys to know we walk around and we appreciate it. We really do.
Not a sponsorship, by the way.
Not a sponsorship. Not at all. Not at all. That came from the heart. As always, I have been your host right here with the Critics with Agents of Fandom. Ruben Ripalda right here. Let us know in the comments below what it is your favorite Ninja Turtle movie or adaptation is, your favorite moment, your favorite scene, anything. Are you excited for this film? I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. There were some wonky moments with the villains and the dialogue and the exposition that I really kind of didn't like. I felt like they could have just went on ahead and just told the story and had fun like they were having. But 9 out of 10, that's really, really high. How about you?
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me. I'll say 9 out of 10 as well. I definitely want to see this movie a couple more times. But man, it was just a fun ride, and we got a good movie on top of that. So I'm just really glad that this movie came out the way it did, and I really hope people enjoy it just as much as we did.
Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time.